All right, let's talk about something really interesting. We're about to decode a rare and honestly powerful way of thinking that you might just have, but maybe never had a name for. Let's find out if this is you.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a room, in a meeting, a conversation, and while everyone else is just focused on the words being said, you're the one picking up on the vibe? You notice that tiny shift in someone's tone, or the one person in the back who suddenly looks uncomfortable. If that sounds familiar, yeah, you're in the right place.
Well, it turns out what you're experiencing actually has a name: peripheral intelligence. And no, this isn't about being easily distracted. It's a sign your brain is just wired differently. Instead of processing information in a straight, neat line, your mind is hyperconnected. It's constantly making these deep connections that just fly right under most people's radar.
So, how do you know if this is really you? Well, we're about to walk through 7 key signs. Think of this as a little journey of self discovery into how your mind works. Let's just see how many of these sound maybe a little too accurate.
Okay, sign number one. It all starts with what you naturally pay attention to. You see, while most people simply hear what's being said, your brain is doing something else entirely. It's what some psychologists call active observation. You're not just a passive listener, you're actively reading between the lines. You're sensing those tiny micro shifts in mood, and you're understanding the why behind the words. It's like having this built-in, high-level emotional intelligence that spots the truth long before anyone actually says it out loud. Now, let's see how this way of seeing the world affects the way you act, which brings us right to sign number 2. We live in this world that seems to reward moving fast, breaking things, being the first to speak up. But you prefer to hang back. You stay quiet, you scan the environment, and you take it all in before you ever jump into the fray. And this quote just completely reframes that whole behavior, doesn't it? This isn't about being shy or insecure. It's a sign of a really powerful brain. In those few seconds, you're gathering data, analyzing consequences, so that when you do finally act or speak, you're not just adding to the noise. You're acting with total clarity. Okay, on to our third sign. Now, this one might feel a little weird to some people. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. To someone on the outside, it might look a bit strange, but this is actually a known psychological tool called verbal reasoning. Your mind is buzzing with so many different ideas and connections all at once that you literally have to use your own voice to bring some order to your thoughts. And this just nails it. It's not a quirk, it's a feature. You're externally processing to stay focused, to sort through that sea of information your brain is taking in, and honestly, to solve complex problems way faster than you could by just thinking about them silently. And now for sign number 4. This one might hit a little close to home for some of us. We're talking about selective organization. You know, maybe your desk is a total mess, but your digital files, they're pristine. Or your car is chaotic, but your bookshelf is perfectly organized. This happens because a highly intelligent mind knows it can't waste energy organizing everything. You instinctively focus your cognitive power only on the systems that truly matter. So that mess, it's actually a sign of incredible mental efficiency. So this way of thinking also dramatically changes how you interact with people. And that brings us to sign number 5. Does talking about the weather feel, physically draining to you? That's because for a brain wired for peripheral intelligence, surface-level chat it's not stimulating at all. Your mind naturally craves meaning and complexity. You would much rather talk about a big, messy idea than engage in pleasantries, because frankly, your inner world is just way more interesting. This intense desire for depth leads us straight into our 6th sign, this powerful need for solitude. Okay, this is so important. You don't stay alone because you dislike people, not at all. You seek solitude because your mind needs it. With such high social sensitivity, being in a group means your brain is processing a constant fire hose of signals, emotions, tones, patterns, you name it. You absolutely need that recovery time to process everything you picked up on the edges. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most empowering, sign of peripheral intelligence. You just don't accept things because, well, that's how it's always been done. You can't help it. Your peripheral view lets you see the flaws in the system, the cracks in the logic, and all the possibilities that people with tunnel vision completely miss. You are, by your very nature, an innovator. And this right here, this is the core of it all.
This quote just sums up the entire mindset perfectly. Your main driving force isn't fitting in, it's figuring things out. You're on a quest for what's real and what's true, even if that sometimes makes you an outlier. So we've seen the what, but what about the why? What is actually happening inside your brain to make all of this possible? Well, the science behind it is just fascinating.
Okay, so picture this. Most brains tend to process information in a linear way, like following a single path from point A to point B. But a brain with peripheral intelligence works through something called hyperconnectivity. Instead of a straight line, it's more like a dense web. This means different parts of your brain are talking to each other way more actively all at once, creating this constant storm of connections. It's like having more crosstalk between brain networks that are usually kept separate, and that is the engine behind every single sign we've just talked about.
Okay, let's bring this all together now. If you've been nodding along this whole time, the most important thing I want you to take away is this. What you might have spent your whole life thinking of as just being weird is actually a profound intellectual strength. So embrace it, seriously. Those quirks we talked about, they're your cognitive superpowers. But, and this is a big but, remember that this kind of deep processing takes a lot of fuel. So protecting your mental energy isn't just a good idea, it's non-negotiable. And finally, never, ever stop valuing that deep drive for authenticity over the easy path of just getting approval.
So if you ever feel like you're too much or that you're out of place, I really want you to remember the simple truth right here. You're not weird, you're not broken, you just think deeper than most. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Now that you have a name for this intelligence and a new way to understand your own mind, the only question left is, how are you going to use its power? Thanks for tuning in.